So hi there, I'm Jenny Lynn from theopenmindtherapist.com talking to you about chronic fatigue syndrome and how to treat it. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you today is about triggers. How is it that triggers work with chronic fatigue? What triggers it? So I've seen stressful events trigger it potentially. So for example, the death of a parent, the birth of a child, job loss, perhaps the partner's lost a job, or perhaps the person concerned has lost a job, perhaps there's been sometimes there's been murder, killing in the family, sometimes there's been a general grinding down, too much pressure over too long, sometimes there's been Epstein-Barr virus, or there's been what's called post-viral fatigue syndrome, where people get a virus and suddenly that depletes them and they get worse from there. So, or Lyme disease, but that has its own set of symptoms, if you like, but very similar to chronic fatigue. So it all looks like this is what's going on, that the triggers are actually the problems, that the stress, whatever's happened in the body to push the adrenaline levels up, that's become completely depleted. This is what's happened in the body. So the triggers are what modern medicine is looking at. Okay, the triggers are what they look at. They're trying to work out what triggers chronic fatigue syndrome in a seemingly healthy patient. The problem is I'm not sure whether they've done any of these studies yet. Have they actually looked at the bloods and the background of people with chronic fatigue before they develop it? Have they actually looked at their adrenaline levels before they actually develop chronic fatigue? Because the chances are that they're probably quite depleted. They're probably using adrenaline quite a bit because they're externally referencing all the time. So these triggers is what sends modern medicine off on the red herring, on the wild goose chase. It sends them off looking for drugs and treatments and research that looks like it's gonna find that elusive cause of chronic fatigue so that it can then get treated. So people wed to modern medicine, and people that have had to prove to modern medicine that they're ill, people that have rejected profoundly the pronouncements of psychiatry with all good cause, I must say. These are sufferers I'm referring to. People that have done that are wed to the medical model, get very angry that modern medicine isn't doing more to research the triggers and what's going on with chronic fatigue. My contention is that triggers are just that, triggers. They're not actually the causes, they're just the triggers. The cause is in the psychospiritual, intrapsychic level of the human being. It's also in the lifestyle, so I'll talk about lifestyle as well in a moment. It's also in the lifestyle of people, this kind of rushing around, this sort of rushing sickness, I think. The Tao Te Ching talks about, we rush everywhere. It's a real modern problem. So that's what I wanted to say about triggers, and I'll get back to you soon. This is Jenny Lynn from theopenmindtherapist.com.